We are in the small Georgian village of Didi Chailuri today, and this village would be completely unremarkable if it weren't for one quite unique festival that's held here once a year. We're on an adventure, driving as far east as our rusty, not so trusty van will allow. Join us, Lucy and Ben, on our journey around the hot springs, remote villages and undiscovered lands of Europe, Turkey and beyond. In this episode, join us as we experience the fun and chaos of Berikaoba, an 8,000-year-old pagan festival in rural Georgia, where the spring season is welcomed in with costumes, whips and plenty of mud.
So we're currently on a bit of a wild goose chase around this village because initially we thought it was going to be at the church, starting at the church, but we parked next to the church and there's nothing going on, but there's hundreds of people walking, as you can probably tell from my breathing, uphill. So managed to just ask a couple of people. It was supposed to start about an hour ago, but Georgian time means it kind of starts within a couple of hours of when it says it will. So we are now in fact walking right to the top of this hill. Hopefully we're going to find something in a minute. Otherwise the goose chase will continue.
Yay!
They're all getting out the back of a minibus wearing some very interesting clothes.
I think that's it then.
It's actually so hot today as well. This is like 15 degrees I think today, and until now it's been like 4 degrees, 5 degrees every day, and it's just shot up today, so it feels like spring finally after a really long harsh winter.
I mean, that is the point of the festival. It marks the start of spring, so you couldn't really have asked for better weather
what
for
could
it.
Be better, hey? I thought we'd found it, but now everyone's just got into minibuses all dressed up and they're all buggering off again. We're now running to try and find where they're going to go.
I think we were in the right place initially.
This is absolutely chaos.
After much running around, we ended up right back where we started, at the church, where the berikas were preparing. Apparently smearing mud is also part of the fun and festivities. With all we knew about this festival before we came, I didn't really expect it to be so much fun. I didn't expect it to be so interactive, that everyone would get involved, the whole crowd that's walking with the berikas, the men dressed up and all the villagers, and everyone's just smiling and laughing. We're all smeared in mud and it's such good fun.
also slightly terrifying when they're herding everyone with their whips like cattle. It's the most random thing, but I can't stop smiling. Oh, so much fun. There we go!
Berikaoba is a millenniums-old festival deeply rooted in pagan tradition. Dating back to the start of early farming culture in Georgia around 8,000 years ago, the festival celebrates the arrival of spring, dedicating itself to the awakening of nature and fertility and prosperity for the year ahead. Local men don homemade costumes to become the berikas, ambassadors for spring, whose performances around the village and reception of gifts decide whether the upcoming year will be a prosperous one. The men wear costumes made of rags, sheepskins, balloons, cuddly toys, and anything else they can incorporate, often with pumpkin seeds for teeth. They run around the village streets, terrorising locals and onlookers alike. Splashing, whipping, stopping traffic, and smearing everybody with mud.
The muddier you are, the more fun you're having.
Yeah.
They're just terrorising people's
It's hilarious.
cars.
They're like dragging people out of cars.
They're stealing
taking them in mud. Look
chickens.
at the terrified faces. So whilst Lucy's been filming on the GoPro, I've been getting really close with the other camera and I'm absolutely covered in mud head to toe.
They run from door to door collecting gifts from the villagers, and in return the villagers are blessed with their muddy hands, which apparently symbolises a connection to the world of the dead, although it also looks like a great excuse to muddy the faces of the neighbours you don't get on with. The berikas take their gifts of bread, homemade wine, beer, eggs, money, and even chickens, and throw their haul into the back of a van, which parades through the narrow streets alongside them.
Can I have a look? What have you got? Wow. Beer?
Yes.
Chickens?
Yes.
Bread? Wow. You have a lot.
Yes.
Hello?
I'm not hiding, I promise.
You look like you're hiding in case you get muddied again.
Oh, you wouldn't think we just like did our washing yesterday, would you? And now we're gonna have to do a whole other load, baby.
Oh,
my
look
God,
at you,
head to toe, mate.
There you go, let's get a little selfie together with our mud.
Everyone is involved in the celebrations, whether they want to be or not. In a desperate attempt to stay clean, the villagers throw money at the approaching berikas, although this offer of peace is rarely accepted. Even cars passing through the village are roped in, going through the inevitable berika car wash. And if they're really lucky, people are even dragged out of their cars to be caked in mud. Everyone is smiling and nobody escapes the fun. Berikaoba was inscribed on the UNESCO Intangible Cultural Heritage list of Georgia in 2013, despite almost dying out completely in the previous century. As Georgia moved towards Christianity and away from paganism, so pagan traditions such as this were gradually forgotten, clinging to life in only a handful of villages across the Kakheti region. It was only thanks to the efforts of one history teacher who moved to Didi Chailuri around 30 years ago that the festival was revived and has grown into a village-wide folk theatre celebration.
That doesn't smell like mud.
Hello.
No, there's nothing for you in there.
No, I'm coming down.
No. Okay.
I'll follow you.
Okay. It's in the van.
What did we do? Let's go. I'm gonna scare people.
Okay.
Oh. It's so hot here.
Yeah.
So hot.
Oh my god. Go faster. It's so good. Wait, go. Oh, wait.
Can safely say we've never had one of those creatures in the back of the van before.
Oh my god.
It is piping in here. Let's go out and see what's going on out there.
After hours of whip-cracking, mud-slinging fun, the berikas eventually ended their reign of chaos and herded everyone down to a large field at the bottom of the village. Here was laid out a feast and an afternoon of festivities for families to enjoy, although the main event that everyone had come to watch was the wrestling. Chidaoba is an ancient form of wrestling that's so unique to Georgia that it, like Berikaoba, is inscribed on the UNESCO list of Intangible Cultural Heritage. Boys and young men take turns to grab each other's costumes, each trying to gain a better hold over the other, while a hectic blend of traditional instruments soundtracks the matches. The wrestling was about halfway through when the berikas made their reappearance. The event culminated with the strongest wrestler taking to the arena. He was only challenged once and instantly took down his opponent. He won by default and claimed his prize.
been made and eaten, but I can see a few remnants here and there. There's people with these giant kebab skewers here, absolutely enormous, tearing off chunks of meat. Everyone's got fresh bread. It looks like Schottish spori, the typical Georgian bread, which is delicious. And some kind of sweet paste as well, but it remains to be seen because it's pretty much all gone. They're serving wine as well, Georgian wine, to people that are definitely not old enough to drink wine. It's all good fun. Managed to get hold of a chunk of this lovely fresh bread that people are making here. I tried some of this sweet dip. No idea what this is. I can't even tell you what that is.
Meat.
It's not meat, no. I keep getting offered big skewers of meat when I'm having to turn people down and they just look really confused. But it's amazing, isn't it? It's just like a giant village-wide supra. There's just tables laid out everywhere full of bread and apples and food, and everyone's just helping themselves, tearing chunks off, having a nice chat. It's a wonderful atmosphere.
Absolutely mental morning. What on earth have we just been a part of?
That was honestly just the craziest experience. I had no idea what to expect when we were coming here, but I don't think it was that.
Definitely not. We nearly didn't come this morning. We woke up and it was so cold and we were like, oh, do we, don't we? But we pushed ourselves, and you know what? This is just absolutely so much fun. We've had the best time here. The weather today has been absolutely beautiful. 15 degrees, the hottest we've had in months. The sun's shining and it's the first day of spring. This whole festival is about celebrating and welcoming in spring, and what better day could we have possibly had for it. The whole village has turned out in their droves, and so many more people as well from all around the world. We've heard different voices from everywhere, so it's a really vibrant place to be, and it's just been a really crazy experience. As you can see, we've been caked in mud, head to toe actually.
Look at my face. People keep pointing and laughing at me.
I've been whipped by accident, I hope by accident, about 10 times as I'm getting too close to the camera, and they're just coming up and just smearing mud all over our faces, and it's hilarious, honestly. This festival only takes place in about 3 villages in Georgia, I think, and it's nearly died out. This festival has actually been around for 8,000 years, and it's a pagan ritual basically, but this is an Orthodox Christian country, so many people don't celebrate it and don't wish to celebrate it, but there's also an active attempt at reviving this festival. So you've got quite a eclectic mix of people here. You know, some people that are 110% into it and fully involved, and some people that really don't want to be a part of it.
Wandered in by accident and then had people trying to get into their cars and smearing their windscreens with mud.
You just couldn't tell who was like, yeah, really trying to get away from the action and who was trying to get involved with it. But it's been hilarious.
I've never seen a crowd of people so happy to be caked in mud all over their faces. But it was just such a good atmosphere, and I love how interactive it was, because when researching this online, it made it seem like it was very much concentrated within the villagers and they were the ones that took part. But the crowd were 100% involved as the berikas made their way through the town, causing all sorts of mischief. They were smearing everyone in mud. They were taking donations. They were taking food. They were stealing chickens.
It was absolutely mad. So this massive, you know, procession through the town then culminated in a big wrestling match, and loads of people went up against each other. And then there was this guy who was built like a tank, and he won one match very quickly, and nobody wanted to go against him. So then he won a sheep, and then he lifted the sheep above his head and then like slammed it down on the ground. Now I don't condone that being vegetarian, but it was certainly quite an interesting thing to see. And what a incredible atmosphere this has been today. Absolutely one of the highlights of our time in Georgia. As you can tell by our silly caked in mud faces, I keep getting bits of mud in my eye. It's really starting to, now it's drying, it's really starting to crack and go in my eye.
It's like a face mask, it's good for you. Apart from they took it out of like the ditches where the drain water goes.
Yeah,
so
like smelt quite sewagey.
we might end up being ill, but you know what, it's all part of the fun, and I would come back here tomorrow and do that all again. That was
absolutely.
brilliant.
But maybe I'd wear some dirty clothes next time as well, actually. Probably just wear these again now. Oh, wouldn't think we just did the washing a couple of days ago.
So I think it's time to go and have a rest and go and have a wash.
Yeah, this has been an absolutely amazing event, but having said that, we are exhausted. I think we've done about 4 miles of running around today, like you wouldn't believe, up and down this village hill. So we're going to go and hide away somewhere, hopefully by a river, so I can clean my clothes and myself, and Lucy can clean her face.
I hope you've enjoyed watching this as much as we've enjoyed participating in it.
I don't know how we're going to top this now.
I don't think so. I think
oh god, covered in mud.
I think this is the perfect end to our time in Georgia.
Absolutely. Right. We'll see you next time.
Join us next time on our journey as we explore an abandoned Soviet airfield before heading deep into the wilderness, taking a 3-day off-road journey towards Georgia's most eastern point, along tracks recommended for 4-wheel drives only. Will our 20-year-old 2-wheel drive LDV conquer the wilderness, or will we have to retreat?
He's gonna do it again. His video. Perfect, thank you. He just got you right in the mouth, didn't he?
Bollocks.
My name is Georgi Kinakatashvili, Jokoli.
Oh, Lucy, nice to meet you.
Lucy.
Thank you.
Okay.
Oh, thank you. Madlova.
Kako çekimen laf yani.
Hi. So tired. It's filming. What happened?
For behind-the-scenes videos and to see the reality of making a TV programme and travelogue series, join us over on Patreon.